Good evening, everybody. We're getting ready to start. Welcome to our 12th Community Advisory Team meeting for the Silver Spring area. Thank you very much for taking your time to be with us tonight. Would like to let you know that this meeting is being recorded and it will be posted to the website purplelinemd.com after the meeting with all of the other supporting project materials. As we progress the meeting, please keep your microphones muted and your cameras off during the presentation. And we ask you to please hold all questions until after the presentation during the Q&A portion of tonight's meeting. We also ask that you limit your questions and comments to 1 minute so that we can get as most of those in for everybody as we can. For those of you that would like a live translation, the Teams format can translate the meeting live. Instructions for how to turn on the translation function is in our chats, and our community liaison, Stephanie Villegas, will explain those instructions as they're being placed into the chat. Stephanie?
Hello. Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. La aplicación Teams puede traducir esta reunión en vivo en varios idiomas, incluyendo español, árabe, chino, francés y portugués y muchos más. Las instrucciones para ver las traducciones en vivo están en la sección de chat. Gracias. Back to you, Carla.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take the next slide. Okay, so tonight we're going to provide a project status, a construction update, community engagement details, and we're going to save time for Q&A at the end to conclude our meeting. And any questions we are not able to answer during the meeting will be answered in the Q&A summary, and we're going to post those to the website following the meeting. Next slide. Okay. Tonight, you're going to hear from Ray Biggs II, our Senior Project Director with MTA, Doran Basso, CEO with Purple Line Transit Partners, Hugo Fontieres, our Project Executive with MTS, as well as Scott Glass, our Construction Manager for the area that we'll be talking about in Silver Spring, as well as our Construction Manager, Julio Velez with MTS. And if you don't know me, my name is Carla Julian, and I'll be facilitating the meeting this evening. All right. And if you can kindly put your microphones on mute, thank you so much. Tonight, the stations that we're going to be focusing on are Silver Spring Library, Dale Drive, and Manchester Place. And as we progress construction, throughout the project, there's going to be a lot of different phases that are happening sequentially to advance the work. We're going to look at utility relocation, storm drain system installation, and as we're progressing, track installation and system utilities. And all of this is going on at the same time within our 16-mile alignment. Each segment is in a different phase, and we've got quite a few segments, and so we are at that exciting stage of seeing the station canopies and the track installation. So with that, we're going to go to our next slide, and we'd like to show you where we are with our Spring 2024 progress video featuring our project leadership team. Thank you.
Welcome to the latest update on the Purple Line project. This year, we've placed thousands of feet of track, an exciting example of tremendous progress being made by Purple Line crews. 2024 is set to be a year of momentum.
The Purple Line track installation teams will be reaching even more areas. Already, tracks have been placed at the southern end of the project, along Ellen Road and Veterans Parkway, and throughout the University of Maryland. The track at Campus Drive is embedded track, seamlessly integrated into the road surface. The Purple Line boasts 3 main types of tracks: embedded, ballast track, and direct fixation. Each plays a crucial role in our mission to ensure a smooth journey from New Carrollton to Bethesda. Progress is visible along the whole 16-mile alignment. In Bethesda, crews have put the custom-made sprung arch form system to work to cast the first sections of the new cavern ceiling. The cavern will connect the 130-foot deep shaft to Metro's Bethesda station. In Silver Spring, the new Purple Line station is rapidly taking shape. From the installation of utilities to the erection of canopies, progress is evident at every turn. But Silver Spring is just one of the 14 stations underway. Station platforms are also emerging at key locations like Connecticut Avenue, Littonsville, Campus Drive at the University of Maryland, College Park, and Glen Ridge, among others. In December, crews poured an impressive 720 cubic yards of concrete in one day to form the roof of the tunnel extension between Wayne Avenue and the Manchester Place station. We also finished the concrete, fencing, and paving needed to open the new and improved Talbot Avenue Bridge, which is part of the Capitol Crescent Trail and an important connection for the communities of Woodside and Littonsville. In Prince George's County, the Kenilworth East-West Highway Flyover Bridge, which is made up of over 617 tons of steel, has been installed over this very busy intersection. In Glen Ridge, the Operations and Maintenance Facility prepares to be the heart of our operations. Here you'll find a variety of specialty track segments. These segments are essential for guiding our light rail vehicles as they navigate through the facility. Inside the OMF, state-of-the-art cranes and meticulously designed workspaces stand ready to handle everything from routine maintenance to major repairs. While we celebrate these achievements, there is still much work ahead.
As you can see, we have more visible tracks, stations taking shape, and complete bridges as a few of the Purple Line's most exciting milestones this year. This time next year, you can expect to see the Purple Line light rail vehicles begin testing on the new test track located in Prince George's County. More exciting news is coming soon, so please follow our social media and subscribe to our newsletter to stay up to date. We are connecting communities through Prince George's and Montgomery counties with Maryland's newest light rail system, the Purple Line. All right, good evening, everyone. As you can see, construction activities have continued to ramp up over the last 18 months. And as you saw in the video, active Purple Line construction can be seen across the entire alignment. With all the work moving ahead, we look forward to the anticipated arrival of the light rail vehicles at the new Glen Ridge Operations and Maintenance Facility later this spring. We're also the test track, which is centered around Glen Ridge Operation and Maintenance Facility, is scheduled for completion in the summer of 2024, kicking off a period of intensive local testing, integrated testing, and initial operator training, while construction continues elsewhere across the alignment. By spring of 2026, construction across the entire alignment will have progressed enough to allow for system-wide testing, full operational training, and the commissioning activities necessary to prove out a safe and ready light rail system. As announced back in March, the Purple Line is scheduled to open for service in winter of 2027. So now I'll turn it over to Scott Glass to provide an update on all the exciting construction activities happening in this area. Scott?
Thank you, Ray. My name's Scott Glass. I'm the area manager for MTS from Bethesda out to Silver Spring. I'm going to walk you through some of our recent work in the Silver Spring area. First, before we start, though, there's been a lot of questions about duct bank and what is a duct bank. And our next slide is going to give you a picture here of what exactly a duct bank is. And a duct bank is really quite simple. It's just an encased concrete bank of conduit that are used to protect the cables and contain space for future cables and connections in the future. It has runs the entire length of the we have one primary duct bank that runs the entire length of the Purple Line alignment. And you can see in the picture, it's installed adjacent parallel to the tracks for the full alignment. Next slide. Now to review some of the progress that we've had over the year and what we have coming ahead of us. This is a picture of Spring Street Bridge. Our recent work in this area has been a lot of underground utility work, and we also have some aerial utility relocations that are underway. We're beginning to prepare for the Spring Street Bridge replacement that'll be commencing this summer. And there's a lot of retaining wall activity underway in this area as well. Upcoming, we have we'll be implementing the closure of the Spring Street Bridge and the detour associated with that. We'll be continuing a lot of overhead aerial utility relocations at that bridge, and we'll be starting and completing the demolition of that bridge, as it's going to be concurrent with a WMATA red line outage that'll be underway from June 1st to September 1st on that red line alignment. And then we, after finishing up the demolition, we'll start the reconstruction of that bridge. This slide shows us the detour that will be in place while we have the Spring Street Bridge closed. Traffic will be detoured along 2nd Avenue, routed around Colesville and Georgia Avenue, and then back up 16th Street along the same pathway. Up the alignment a little bit further to the east in downtown Silver Spring. In the picture, you can see we had completed the deck placement on the LRT bridge that runs across through Silver Spring. We have begun the construction of light rail ramps on the approach on the west end of the bridge behind the Falkland Apartments. And we've started quite a bit of the duct bank construction along this corridor as well. Upcoming work in Silver Spring is going to be quite busy this summer. We'll be finishing up the safety walks on this light rail bridge and continuing quite a bit of the duct bank installation. And we'll start the preparation for installation of tracks along this bridge. And then we'll also be looking to start the placement of the concrete on the CCT bridge that is crossing over Colesville Road. Some of the recent work that's occurred here at the Silver Spring Purple Line Station. We completed the placement of the platforms at the Purple Line Station. The canopies that you can see, the steel members that have been erected on this station, and we're continuing. There's a lot of utility work being routed to support this station, and we've begun the construction of the elevator and stair tower that's on the west end of this station. The upcoming work this summer will be continuing a lot of utility work through this area. We'll be constructing and progressing the elevator stair tower. Will really start to take shape really over the next 30 to 45 days. And then, as I mentioned, we'll be starting the preparation for the direct fixation track that runs across this bridge. At the Transit Center mezzanine, which is the connection that the Purple Line makes to the Red Line platform at the Silver Spring Station, we've completed most of the demolition of the MARC Access Bridge, and we've completed the demolition of the center section of the Red Line platform. What you see here in this picture is the work zone inside the walls that we have up in place. We've begun the installation of the pile foundations that will support the mezzanine structures that will come up out of the ground this summer. Upcoming work at this area, well, as I mentioned, there'll be a red line shutdown from June 1st to September 1st, and the primary activities will be associated with that shutdown will be occurring here at the Silver Spring platform. And we'll finish these foundations, and we'll start to see some of the structures come out of the platform at this location. This is a quick image of the three-dimensional view of the mezzanine structure that we'll be constructing. A significant amount of the structure will come out of the ground and start to take form over the next 4 to 6 months. And then the finishes and a lot of the architectural work will be underway for the rest of into 2025. This WMATA shutdown, there is a website that's been set up for information to all the people that are using the red line system. You can get a lot of that information and maps and where there'll be occurring at the website that's shown on this page here. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Julio Velez. He's our construction manager for the project.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll take it over from here and I'll go over a brief summary of all the work that's ongoing on Bonafont through Wayne Avenue and all the way up through Manchester. So I'll give you a quick briefing on that. So basically on Bonafont right now, we have been working on a lot of utility work, underground utility work, relocations that are required in order for us to continue with the installation of our storm drain system. So there's quite a bit of work that's still ongoing underground on Bonafont to facilitate those. The catenary system that's on the north side of Bonafont, most of them have already progressed, but there were several that were not able to be constructed that were also under conflict. So we are looking to resume those operations now that those utility conflicts are coming to a close. So storm drain installation, resuming OCS foundations on the north side of Bonafont will actually now progress. And also not listed on here, but our duct bank operations that Scott was mentioning before will also start up between the library and Georgia Avenue. Once that duct bank and utility work is out of the ground, that'll allow us to demolish the existing curb lines and start the actual restoration and complete and put in new curbs and new sidewalks on the north side of Bonafont and tie it into the library. And right now we've got track that's ready to start beginning within the library footprint. Next slide. This is actually a picture of the library. You can see we've completed the platform within the library footprint, all duct bank and excavation within the footprint of the library is now completed. And right now, preparations are underway, and our track folks will be starting here as early as next week, installing track within the limits of the library station. And then, as I mentioned before, we will continue on duct bank and track installation coming out of the library and continue working our efforts through Bonafont. Those efforts will continue after a summer shutdown commitment, which we'll talk about here in the next couple of slides. Next slide, please. So this is the work on Bonafont between Fenton and Dale. So the bulk of the work between Fenton and Dale right now is there's quite a bit of retaining walls that are required for us to be able to widen the roadway. So those efforts are ongoing right now. OCS foundations are also on the way. Most of them have been installed on the north side of Wayne. There were several that were not able to be constructed and that were under conflict, but are now being resolved. And our plan is to, over the next several months, to return to complete all the OCS foundations on the north side of Wayne Avenue. And that will then allow us to continue with sewer line relocations. It'll allow us to continue with storm drain installation. And finally, once we are out of the ground, we can then start reconstructing and putting in all the brand new curbs and sidewalks, which we're all looking forward to starting that process. Next slide, please. So here's a photo of what's been currently going on with the OCS foundations within this area. We've already begun the curb and sidewalk restoration right in front of the school. And we've actually begun track installation also right in front of the school. And those efforts will continue going on from within the school towards the actual Wayne Avenue Bridge down to, towards Oswego Creek, and then it will progress during a summer closure that we'll discuss here shortly up towards Dale Avenue. And that's what's up and coming, is basically trying to get out of the ground and now put in all the permanent flat work, track work, curbs, sidewalks, and the green trail, which will go right in front of the actual school, is being prepped right now. And hopefully over the next month, you'll start seeing us being able to asphalt and put that into a permanent condition. Next slide, please. So here's an overview of all the work that's going on in front of the school. It's a very active site right now for us, trying to complete retaining walls, trying to complete what we call a TPSS, which is basically a power substation, which is housed right within the footprint of the school. So we have been working there and also completing a new set of stairs that will provide access to the school from the lower parking lot up to the upper parking lot. And right in front of the school, we hope that the TPSS, which is this power substation, we are going to be installing it right as the kids are out of school and the summer break starts. We will be installing a brand new TPSS structure within the school footprint. Next slide, please. Here's a picture of the Wayne Avenue Bridge. As I mentioned before, a lot of the widening requires us to construct a new bridge for Wayne Avenue over Oswego Creek. So we continue working on the north side of bridge abutment. This work is now entering its final stages. Once we're able to complete the north side, we will start construction of the south side bridge abutment. And then once we complete the south side abutment, we'll then complete the entire phase, and then we'll be able to move and switch traffic to the north side, and that won't be going on until the end of this year. Next slide, please. This is a picture and of all the work that's going on between Sligo and Manchester Place. A lot of the work that's been going on there is to complete the OCS foundations, which are all nearly completed right now. Storm drain is also nearly completion. So we'll continue working on those here for the next several months. And there's also a significant amount of retaining walls, construction that have started, 2 major walls that are going to be required for the widening of the road between Sligo and Manchester. So those are also on the way. So once those walls are finalized, we will then continue with our duct bank installation. So right now, the bulk of the work is to complete all the work in front of the school. But once the work in front of the school duct bank is completed, we will continue those duct bank efforts through Sligo Creek and working our way uphill towards Manchester Place. And as soon as the duct bank is completed, we will be restoring and putting in the permanent curb and sidewalks into its permanent condition. Track installation will be, this is the next sequence of work. So once all the track work has been completed in front of the school, we will then continue with track work installation over the bridge, and then continue working our way uphill towards Manchester with 1 track only. Once that work is completed, then we'll do the south side of Wayne track. So it's all sequenced on 1 track at a time based on our MOT requirements. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to kind of give you a more detailed presentation on what we are calling our summer shutdown. And what that really means is that once the school is closed and the kids are out of the school, one of the things that we're looking to do in order to minimize disruptions to the school and minimize disruption to the kids is to be able to work on a major switch here on Dale Drive, and we'll discuss the details about that here as to what's coming up for this summer. Next slide, please. So what you see here is the current work zone, the current phasing of MOT. So as you guys know right now, the bulk of our construction is occupying the north side of Wayne Avenue in front of the school, and all the traffic is on the south side. So these are the current conditions and the current pedestrian movement. That's actually the main movement occurring right now, which is using the south side sidewalk and using the south lanes to maintain traffic. And that work will continue on in this manner until this summer request that we're talking about. Next slide, please. So once the kids are out of school around that June 14th timeline, one of the things that we're looking to implement is to be able to expedite the work in this area to allow both tracks to be installed through Dale, is to try to complete all that work during this summer break while the kids are out, and allow us to be able to build both tracks through Dale intersection at the same time, and ensure that both tracks are built before the kids come back to school. So that timeline is between June 14th and August 24th. So during that duration, what will happen is there will be no through traffic through Dale. There will be right-hand movement on Dale as shown on the sketch. And again, this will allow us to minimize disruptions and the duration of impact on Dale, especially as you guys all know, it's a very congested intersection that we're trying to coordinate all this work with the school. And also, in order to do that, what will end up happening is we're going to always maintain pedestrian movement through Dale intersection. So we will phase our work through Dale, build our track work, and there will always be ped movement through Dale through the summer work. So this all coincides, as I was saying, through the summer shutdown, and all this work is also being coordinated with Montgomery County Schools, and obviously as it all impacts the community and parks in this whole entire area. Next slide, please. So during the summer, what will end up happening is the traffic will actually be divided into two. So you'll have instead of having traffic on the south side, you will have traffic on the north side and on the south side, allowing us to work in the middle to install the track through Dale as shown in here. So you'll see we'll use Mansfield to divert the traffic to allow us this construction job site and try to expedite the work in front of the school, again with the goal to minimize disruptions to the school and through Dale. Next slide, please. So this is the proposed detour that's going to be in effect during the restricted movement on Dale, which is basically no left-hand movement at Dale. There will only be right-hand movement. So obviously there will be significant amount of signage that will be added to ensure that the Dale traffic will be limited to local traffic only as much as possible in order to minimize congestion. And you can see the proposed detour that has been proposed, and it's being coordinated with all the major stakeholders as we speak. Next slide, please. Now, this is the slide after the summer. So once we have completed the track through the Dale intersection, and now the Dale intersection can be restored, we would then put both lanes of traffic on the north side and allow us to then work on the south side of Wayne Avenue as shown in here. Again, trying to concentrate our efforts between Mansfield and Dale, as this is the most impactful area currently that we're trying to expedite our work through. So this is what the proposed MOT will look like after August, the end of August when school resumes. Next slide, please. This is kind of a blow up of what it would look like. So again, there will be a long-term work zone established on the south side of Wayne Avenue after the school, and then all movement on Dale Avenue, excuse me, will be restored back to its normal condition, where you would have left hand movement at Dale after the summer shutdown. And obviously, ped movement will then be restored during the summer school year, and both crosswalks will be open at that time. And Dale traffic will be fully restored to its intended design. Next slide, please. So once we complete all the work in front of the school, which is what I just went through here quickly, there will be, the work will progress from in front of the school, and it will also progress over the bridge, which is what you see here, and eventually work our way towards Manchester. So please go to the next slide. So right now, the work zone that will be implemented between September and January, again, we are anticipating that the north side of the bridge, which you just saw, will be completed by September, and then we'll be able to progress the work through Sligo Creek between September and January. And the goal is to be able to do a two-phase approach, maintain traffic, one lane in each direction, so that we can then implement what we call our phase 1A. And all the traffic will be on the south side, allowing us to be able to close the north side intersection of Sligo Parkway and Wayne Avenue on the northbound side. And then the phase 2A switch traffic will occur on the north side of Wayne Avenue. This will close the intersection of Sligo Creek Parkway, Wayne Avenue on the south side. Next slide, please. Here's a rendering of what I was trying to explain. What it means is that the north side of Sligo Creek will then be closed. That'll allow us to construct a track from the bridge through Sligo. Obviously, through traffic will always be maintained in each direction. Manchester Road will not be disrupted. And then there'll be, if anyone requires Sligo left-hand movement, there's a proposed detour sign that we'll show you guys here in the next slide. Next slide, please. So this is the proposed detour to be able to minimize the left-hand movement. I will also add that the left-hand movement, we will always maintain access to the park's parking lots. Okay, so this is just local blockage right at the intersection, but there will be access to all of the parking for the park. And this detour will be in place between September and October. Next slide, please. This is pretty much the
Safety.
This is pretty much the upcoming work that we have planned here over the next 6 months. And that's pretty much it on my part. I'll turn it over back to Carla.
Right now, we're going to see a safety video.
Safety is our #1 priority, both for our crews that are building the Purple Line and for the public. As we shift into track installation, you will see more and more work in the roadways and crews implementing lane shifts and detours. This could also include pedestrian walkways. So please take your time and follow all the posted signage. And if you see something amiss, please call our hotline.
Great. Well, thank you, Julio, for that description and safety video. Last part here, and then we can start taking questions and having a good session here, is on community engagement. So next slide, please. The Purple Line team is really fortunate to be part of this community, and we take that responsibility seriously. So you'll see us maybe at local events like farmers markets, UMD's Maryland Day, or these community advisory team meetings. But tonight we just want to take the opportunity to quickly touch on one thing, and that is to advertise our community grant program. This program is aimed at supporting existing nonprofit groups by amplifying the great work they're already doing. Our first round of 6 community grants was awarded earlier this year, and we wanted to let you know that there's another round of 6 grants with a deadline for the application of May 31st. So please spread the word. All the information is on our website, www.purpleLineMD.com. And this next slide will actually show some of the other ways to keep updated with the project and reach out to us. And with that, I will hand it over to Ray Biggs.
All right, appreciate it, Doran. So we've come to the part of the meeting where we have questions. We have a lot of questions in the chat, but I want to try to bring some of them together, as I noticed, as you saw, we had a lot of construction updates, and we tend to get excited about the construction and forget sometimes that we know the acronyms, but you don't. So let me try to cover them really quickly. If we can put the presentation back on the screen. So OCS, that is overhead catenary system. That is what is going to provide basically the power to the trains and all of that to operate the system. MOT, maintenance of traffic. I think in the chat it said MLT, but Julio and Scott were both saying MOT. Maintenance of traffic is all those detours and all those different signages that you see out there to help guide you around the construction areas. I believe those are the 2 acronyms that I saw in the chat. So I'm going to turn it over to Carla, who's going to guide us through the questions. We have quite a few, and we want to make sure that we answer all of them as well as we can.
Okay, thanks, Ray. I'm just going to work through these chat questions and let you hand them off to the appropriate team members, and then we'll go to folks live in the meeting. All right, so our first question is, I would like to know when the CCT trail will open. Given substantial completion for commissioning will occur in early 2026, it seems like it should be possible to open at least sections of the trail even earlier, as you'll no longer be doing heavy construction on its right-of-way.
I appreciate that, Carla. I'll take that one. So we definitely understand and share the desire to open the trail for the community. As we've mentioned in the past, we will open the Capitol Crescent Trail as soon as it's safe to do so. And we're working very hard with PLTP and MTS to work on that. And we are hoping that we'll be able to open it a little bit earlier than predicted.
All right, thanks, Ray. Next question is back to the Bonafont area. What were the conflicts on the catenary supports on Bonafont?
So I will send it over to Julio.
Yeah, sure. A lot of the conflicts that exist underground are existing sewer lines, existing gas lines that are in the way that need to be relocated to allow the OCS to be installed in its design location. So those are the major ones, is really sewer lines and gas lines. In some instances, there's power lines that also have to be shifted over, but the bulk of them have been areas where there was no anticipated sewer line in that location.
Thank you, Julio. Okay, the next question is, what is the timeline for sewer and et cetera installation on the north side of Wayne from Fenton? Looking like you, Julio.
Yes, and Julio.
From Fenton to Dale. So obviously all our efforts right now are being concentrated in the Dale to Sligo area. So we will, after the summer shutdown has been met, and we've met our commitments to the school and and all the major stakeholders around the Dale to Sligo area, we will then move resources to work from Fenton towards Dale. So that is not anticipated to start until after all the summer commitments have been met.
Okay. Next question is, will there be pedestrian streetlights on the north side of Bonafont from the library to Georgia?
All right, I'm gonna ask Julio to just come on and stay on, so I think you have us quite a few questions back to back in this area.
Sure, no problem. On that area right now, between the library and Georgia, we will be starting our duck bank operations that I was mentioning earlier, which will be able to then run all the conduits that actually feed all those traffic lights. So for the foreseeable future, we have to maintain lighting based on temporary lighting, but we are working on installing the permanent raceways. All the new foundations for lighting have been installed along the library, and we are working on trying to bring and coordinate with PEPCO the permanent power to that area. But for the foreseeable future, we still have to maintain temporary while we build the new infrastructure, which will start here in the next month or so.
Okay. Next question is, can you send the recorded meeting to my email so I can share it? Yes, well, the recordings are going to be posted on the website. So I'll get with you after the meeting and get your email, but those will all be on the Purple Line MD website under each specific CAP meeting. So you can download it yourself. And those are usually posted within 24 to 48 hours after the meeting. So you can go there directly. Okay, next question. More of a statement. Dale and Wayne is a major intersection, especially for folks headed to and from Colesville. What is the plan for traffic redirection at that intersection and for how long? I think some of that was discussed in the meeting. So if that needs further explanation for you, please type another question, but I think Julio addressed that in our presentation. Next question, is there any alternative to closing the Wayne-Dale intersection? And how long do we anticipate that intersection being closed? I think we did address the duration. Ray, I don't know if you want to discuss or if there are alternatives.
No. So the plan is for us to close down. So as Julio said, we are trying to minimize the impact. So this is the best option for us to minimize the impacts to the community and get the rail installed as quick as possible.
And I just wanted to say that so Dale will be open. The only movement that would be restricted would be left-hand movement on Dale.
Okay, and the next question, which I do think we addressed somewhat, is what work is anticipated at Wayne-Dale when school starts on August 26th?
Yes, and so I was mentioning once the work on the north side is done, we will then move into the south side. So there will be significant amount of work on the south side between Dale and Mansfield, which will include, again, drainage, duck bank, flat work, and then restoration of all the permanent work.
Okay, the next one is, I live on the 700 block of Bonafont with Fenton, busy, and with all the proposed closed to Dale and Wayne, it will be hard to get out. The neighborhood is overwhelmed now with the cut through.
You can repeat that, Carla.
Sure. I think the concern is the neighborhood's already overwhelmed with cut through traffic. This particular resident who lives on the 700 block of Bonafont, with Fenton being busy and the proposed closure for the summer shutdown at Dale and Wayne, they're just maybe looking for some feedback on the frustration with being overwhelmed with traffic and additional traffic impacts being put in place.
Yes, I can start and Julio, you can jump in. But the team, we did look at a lot of different options when considering how we're constructing through the area, and really take into account how we're impacting the community. So we do recognize that we are impacting, but we're trying to minimize as much as possible. But Julio, I don't know if you want to add to it.
Yeah, definitely. No, there's been significant amount of traffic studies that have been done to try to figure out how we can minimize those impacts. And that's why the conclusion really said if you restrict just the left-hand movement, but maintain all other movements on Dale, that in conjunction with adding signage that will deter people from using this area is another means for us to help with notifying the community that if there's alternative routes that can be taken, please do so.
Okay, next
Carla?
question. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say if we can go to the people that raised their hands and then go back to the chat,
Yep,
just to switch it up
absolutely.
for a minute. So I'll take it from here. So Lisa, I believe, was the first one to have her hand up. So Lisa, if you can unmute yourself and ask her question to us.
Great, thank you, Ray. So I'm a resident of Mansfield Road, and I can tell you that I'm sure you've studied this and looked for alternatives, and there aren't great ones. I understand that, but it's a really narrow street. People park on both sides of the street as it is, and often when I'm going home in my car, I have to pull behind a car just to let somebody through. So my question is, and you can ignore it because I posted it in the chat later, but what sorts of traffic calming measures are you going to put in place on Mansfield while it's being used as a cut through? Because I can see an accident happening very easily with cars parked on both sides of the street as it is. It's a narrow street, and then all these cars are barreling through.
What do you, Julio?
Yeah, no, I can tell you that when we were looking at the proposed detours, when we were talking about restricting the left-hand movement, Mansfield was our first choice. But obviously, after all your comments and same thing, SHA had the same exact concerns. They have actually required us to propose an alternate, better class road that can take more traffic than Mansfield. So we actually looked into that. And that's why the proposed detours that are being now would use Flower and some of the other major roads in order to minimize the disruption on Mansfield Road. So obviously we do need to minimize who's parking in those areas that are not required. So we'll definitely look into that as an action item to make sure that it's none of our folks creating additional problems in your area. But we did look at it, and that's why the proposed detour does not require Mansfield at all.
Oh, okay. I guess I misunderstood that. I thought I heard you say before that Mansfield would be the detour. So
No.
I'm glad to hear it's not. Okay, great. Thank you.
Mansfield is not the proposed detour. The proposed detour actually uses a higher category road. So definitely
Okay.
that if I said Mansfield, then I was mistaken.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you, Lisa. So over to you, Kyle.
Hi, thank you so much. I live on Dartmouth between Wayne and Cedar. If I'm going south on Dale Drive, take a right on Wayne, will we be able to take a left there or not?
A left on Cedar?
No, a left. No, Cedar's one way, the other way. A left on Dartmouth from Wayne. Left on Dartmouth from Wayne westbound.
Yes, you would.
Okay, thanks. I'm also worried about cut through on Dartmouth from Dale, just trying to avoid that intersection altogether. So the 600 block of Dartmouth up by Dale Drive, you currently can't turn in there. I'm worried that people are going to go flying down that little chunk of road as well. That was a question for a friend of mine who lives on that block of Dartmouth.
No, that's fine. Obviously, the as part of our SHA approval process, you'll see there's a significant amount of signage that's being requested and mandated of us to install in this area. So we're hoping that with all the additional signage, we'll be able to not only control speeds, but also minimize and deter traffic to local traffic only, and other throughways be used instead of this main corridor of Wayne.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll take one more question live and then we'll go back to the chat. I see Melvin, you've raised your hand. You can unmute yourself and go ahead with your question. Great.
Finally,
go.
found it. Okay. I wanted to go back to that north side of Bonafont between the library and Georgia Avenue. What I was trying to ask about was not right now, but when the sidewalk is reconstructed, will there be street lights, sidewalk pedestrian type lights installed, or will lighting be hung from the catenary poles?
Oh, no, lighting will not be hung from the catenary poles. That is a separate system. That's nothing to do with the catenary system. So there will be lighting, which will be actually energized from within the library area. There is a Pepco drop in a room there that will house all the equipment that will provide power to the lighting on Bonafont.
It's good to know there's a plan to put streetlight poles on that north side. Thank you.
Thank you, Melvin. All right, Carla, if you want to join us back, and we'll jump back into the questions we had in the chat and go from there.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is, can we get a traffic study on Bonafont? I'm not sure if we need more context for that, but
yes, if we can have more context on the question.
Yes, that was a chat question from Joan. Joan, I don't know if you'd like to unmute yourself and give us a little bit more context on what you'd like to see with that traffic study. Joan, we can't hear you if you are talking. If you'd rather put it in the chat, you can do that as well.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on, and Joan, we'll circle back with you and see if we can get more information. We have a bit of a comment that says Mansfield is a narrow street with few driveways. I think we've chatted with Lisa and gotten some more context for that as well. Next is Cedar Wayne intersection needs help as people often proceed the wrong direction down the one-way street portion of Cedar on the south side of Wayne Avenue. I think we can take that and take a look at it and get back to you on that one. Another question on, can this presentation be sent out after the meeting? We will be posting this on the Purple Line MD website, so we'll ask that you check there and let us know if you have problems with that. A question on, you described this as proposed. Is there someone who approves this or can disapprove the closing of this intersection? I think that's referring to Dale and Wayne.
Yes. So every time we do maintenance of traffic or shifts across the alignment while we're doing construction, it does go through an approval process. This is the plan for the summer, and we're just finalizing the approval process.
Okay, thank you. Another question. So I cannot cross Wayne from South Dale. Where will commuters go?
There will be ped movement at all times at Dale. So they should be able to cross from through Dale from the south side to the north side or vice versa throughout the entire summer. So there should be no restriction.
Okay. Next question. During and after the shutdown of Dale through traffic, Will cars eastbound on Wayne be able to turn left north on Sligo Parkway? Now it's not permitted.
I'm not sure on the question, Carla. Can you repeat what the question is?
So I think what she's saying is currently you can't turn left because so it says during and after the shutdown of Dale through traffic, will cars on eastbound Wayne Avenue be able to turn left? Because currently north on Sligo Parkway, now it's not permitted. That's currently not permitted.
That is true. That is what our approved SHA plans show.
So then the answer is yes.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you. Next is this is going to create major traffic jams. I won't be able to leave my street, Fleetwood, during rush hours.
We definitely understand the impacts that the construction is having on you all, but as stated, we've studied and did a lot of different traffic studies to minimize the impacts we're having on the community. So we definitely understand.
Then there was a question to ask for clarification. What about Wayne Avenue from Cedar to Dale with traffic movements?
During this summer, there will be, as it is right now, where basically traffic will travel in the center, and then the sides of Wayne Avenue will be under construction, either for road widening or utility work, storm drain work, or flat work.
Okay, next question. When the project is complete, will the track on Wayne Avenue be embedded, meaning that cars and light rail can share lanes and that the eastbound traffic on Wayne can turn left into the Greenbrier, for example?
Yes, that is accurate.
Okay, so the answer is yes on that one.
Yeah.
Another question about the slides being shared. Yes, we'll share those on the Purple Line MD website. Again, another question on what is the schedule for the Capitol Crescent Trail. So I think we have addressed, we've addressed that one. Next question, will there be any additional closures on the WMATA Red Line segment from Fort Totten to Glenmont, including Silver Spring after summer 2024? If we were able to take the MARC train during the WMATA Red Line closure this summer, do we board the southbound platform for both directions? I think we do have some ability to forward you. I don't think we can answer those WMATA questions specifically, but we do have some information on where to forward you to. Unless Ray, you would like to address that further, we can share that website.
I think we should follow up with additional information to provide about MARC train and the WMATA closures.
Got it. We will follow up with you guys on that one then. Next question, does this summer's plan for the Wayne and Dale intersection place any restrictions on Wayne Avenue traffic turning left onto Mansfield, since left onto Dale will not be allowed? Sounds like we answered that one, yes?
Yes, you should be able
ahead.
from Mansfield to turn left, no problem. From Mansfield onto Wayne.
What provisions are being made for access to and continuation of the walking bike trail along Sligo Creek as it crosses Wayne? To date, the signage has been terrible.
Okay, we can look into the signage that's there and see how we can augment it accordingly. So we'll take that as an action item for us.
Will traffic calming measures be added to Mansfield while it's used as a detour?
One more time, Carla.
Will traffic calming measures be added to Mansfield while it is used as a detour?
We answered this one. That was where Julio was clarifying with Lisa that
Gotcha.
Mansfield is not a detour route.
Sorry, I'm just going through these. Some of these we've already answered.
While you are going through that, I did see Joel pop his hand up. And Joel, I don't know if you wanted to come off mute and ask your question to us.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. I had the same issue again, but I eventually finally got on. Yep. I didn't know if I would be able to get on. Yep. So had some concern about the graffiti on the Silver Spring station itself up on the 3rd level, the Trenton Center. And also they had some graffiti on the fence leading into the construction area. And I think I have to wait to those local bus services can have these meetings with you guys. See what they can have some feeder buses during that when the pub line opens.
I think you're asking us about how the buses are going to work with the Purple Line and all of that. Joel, is that correct?
Yeah.
And we're working with the counties and with WMATA to make sure that there's some coordination, so it's easily to understand from the communities of how all of them are working together. But more information will come out as we get closer and closer to opening up in 2027.
Oh, thanks for answering my question. And over there was completed. I think one day they would picking up those dew up on top of the that ledge. And now they have it all over the field box on the flash. I did talk to Linda from Montgomery County. He said he was going to take care of it. And another issue with those flash buses field boxes, sometimes it didn't work. And they had to go out there, and the IT person had to go back out there to fix that problem. But there's no problem with the field boxes when they install them.
That's our hope to be playing for everything to be working successfully when we open up the Purple Line. So we appreciate it, Joel.
You're welcome.
Al and Melvin, I just want to double check to make sure that you don't have questions still. So I see your hands are still up, but I do see Scott. You may have a question. So let's start with Scott.
Yeah, I put something in the chat. In your presentation, you didn't discuss what's going to happen to Georgia Avenue, where Bonafont crosses it, because that seems like that's going to be a major intersection that's going to have to be, I don't know, rerouted. I'm not sure how that's going to be handled.
Julio, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, no, Georgia, there is a required MOT phasing, which we're going to be doing that work in pieces as we progress through. So basically half of Georgia will be worked on at one point. All traffic will be diverted on the other half. And once the work is done, call it through halfway of Georgia, then we flip the traffic. So there is a sequence that was prepared, submitted, approved by SHA, which we have to abide by. So we definitely have all those phasing and signage and detours, all that has been already been approved. We do intend to do that work sometime towards late summer. We will be working on trying to get some of the work going on Georgia.
Thank you.
Yep.
And Kyle, I just wanted to double check with you. Did you have another question before we go back to the
I
chat?
didn't. Sorry, I don't know how to put my hand back down.
Let me see if I can help you.
Oh, there we go. Lower your hand.
You got
Bye.
it. Appreciate it. Back to you, Carla. Let's go back to the questions from the chat.
Okay, next question. Do we anticipate the green trail along Wayne being completed and open by the end of the summer, since work will have moved to the south side of Wayne?
The green trail in front of the school from Dale to that lower parking lot by the school will be completed.
Thank you, Julio. This one's also going to be for you. Based on Julio's earlier response, will there be no construction during the summer shutdown along Wayne west of Dale Drive through Fenton Street? So no storm drain work starting back until afterwards?
So the work that's anticipated in that area is all overhead utility work. So we have a significant amount of work to do with the existing poles that still have overhead lines. So that work will be ongoing. And then there is also what we call 303 sewer work that will commence after the Dale intersection drainage has been completed, which will be towards middle to late summer.
Okay, this next question is referring to slide 29. Catherine, can you put us on slide 29 so we can have a visual? Thank you. Slide 29 shows the lane configuration along Wayne. What will the configuration be towards downtown from what this slide shows? Will the travel lanes be separated by work in the center all the way to Cedar?
The answer is yes. Once you get past Dale, the two lanes will come back together all the way up to Fenton. That's correct.
Okay. Next question is, who has a say in the approval process to close the Dale Wayne intersection? Is there some state local agency that has some voice in this very impactful plan?
Yeah, so I can take that one. SHA is the approver and have the final say on the plans.
Okay, and Catherine, if you don't mind, will you put us to all of the contact information at the end of the slideshow before the questions slide? Our next question is, what email can I use for additional questions? So just while we're here, you can always email outreach@purplelinemd.com for all questions. And if you are a member of the media, you can use media@purplelinemd.com for questions and to schedule anything that you may be interested in related to the project. And then we do have a 24/7 hotline number, which is in English and Spanish, that's noted here for you too. And here is our handle on all of the social media outlets as well. So please reach out at any time. Okay. You already answered that one. One question, are you saying that you will be cutting Georgia Avenue traffic to 3 lanes at the same time you're closing the Dale Wayne intersection?
No, right now our phasing is they will not be at the same time. We're looking to see if we can do that towards the tail end of the summer.
Okay, and the final question that I have in chat right now is, can you provide any update on the Piney Branch University Boulevard area? And just so you're aware, we have a different community advisory team meeting for that area, and that's going to be May 23rd. So please join us there, and we can answer your questions there. And all of those questions will also be provided online after that, if you're not able to make it. Does anybody else want to raise their hand and do questions in real time, or feel free to add more to the chat right now as well?
Yeah, we'll see you coming in. All right, so let's start with I want to make Costas. If you can unmute yourself.
Sorry. You mentioned that you were going to stop local traffic from using Dale from the Wayne intersection. But what is to stop commuter traffic from using Springvale or Greenbrier, the streets which are before they get to Wayne? I mean, people are already using that for commuter traffic, and the neighborhood is completely overwhelmed. And we need to be able to get out in a different fashion at the same time that you're forcing more people in. So I don't know what plans you have to stop that commuter traffic from coming into the local neighborhood.
Yeah, obviously our plan is to be able to put up all signs and deter the commuting traffic away from these areas, and put up signs that say this is for local traffic. This is basically we'll post signs everywhere to deter as much as possible this action from occurring. That's within our control to do.
Yeah, I understand signage is important, but I'm looking towards what kind of enforcement do you have? Because already our streets are completely blocked, even before you close that intersection. You know, where I live is full of people who come from somewhere and they cut through on Greenbrier or Springvale and come down Pershing, which is the only place to make a left onto Dale, therefore completely avoiding the Wayne-Dale intersection. And once you close it, more people will use that. We don't have sidewalks. We have cars parked on both sides of the street. We have pedestrians, young families who are trying to get to the park during the same time that all the rush hour people are coming through here. Plus, they don't follow the stop signs. The people that are commuters don't follow the stop signs. They just come through here. So we need enforcement, not signage.
One thing I can add to it is that we are in close coordination with Montgomery County and all the different third-party entities, and before all of this gets implemented. So we are using all the tools that we can to try to minimize as much impact and try to do as much as we can, because we don't have that enforcement power on the Purple Line, but we're doing as much as we can to coordination to steer
Also,
them away from the neighborhoods.
you could really use maps. The people who live here could really use maps on how to get out of the neighborhood.
Correct. And you will see that information starting to get delivered to you in the next few days. We wanted to go over the information tonight, and then you'll start to see communication starting to come out, more and more details, so that people can get prepped for it and plan for it. So once you go into effect, hopefully you won't have that issue that you're describing, which we know is going to happen, but we'll do as much as we can to try to reduce that risk.
Yeah, I have one more question, and that is, are you going to change any of the traffic restrictions within the neighborhood in order to move people during this period of time?
Let us follow up with you on that, because anything that we do, as I mentioned, it has to get approved by SHA on any of the detours and the maintenance of traffic that we do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add, Ray, that as part of our outreach, we will be going to the local precincts and also the local firehouse to discuss everything that we're talking about here, especially with the WMATA Red Line shutdown and all the different bus detours and all that. So that is an ongoing effort that our teams are tasked with to, and we'll make sure that we express your concerns and see if we can get some help on the enforcement end from them.
Thank you.
All right, over to you, Ken.
And I have exactly the same concern that was just mentioned, but on the other side of Wayne. I live on Bonafont, and Bonafont is a wonderful cut-off street to go from Dale into the downtown area of Silver Spring. Goes up to Fenton. Right now, of course, Bonafont further up is one way coming into Fenton the other way. But anyone who wants to go from Dale into downtown Silver Spring will be using Bonafont as well if they come from the south. They come from Tacoma Park, so area. So it's exactly the same issue and concern. And there is parking on both sides of the street here, and the street can get pretty narrow. And there's also weight constraints, which are have been routinely broken by Purple Line trucks, I must say, but other trucks as well. So so the concern is in for both things. So thank you.
I appreciate that. We'll definitely add that to the list and see what we can do there to try to address that and minimize that from happening. Any other questions? And Carla, if you wanted to come back on, if you can talk a little bit more about the outreach piece in regards to the information that's going to be shared with the community about the Wayne Avenue closures and maintenance of traffic.
Absolutely. So we'll be working with MTA. We're going to do door hangers all along Wayne Avenue, likely early next week. We'll also be putting this information out through our notification systems as well. And if people have questions, please be in touch with us. Let us know. You can call us, you can email us, but all of that's going to get pushed out, and we're going to go door to door as well. And we'll also be talking with WTOP, so it gets out further to commuters as well.
Any other questions?
I have some difficult time now. This is Joel Wilson. I lost my camera. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Joel.
Before I couldn't even see the icons on the bottom. The telephone, the speaker, and the camera.
Okay, you're saying you can't see, or you're nervous that we can't see you?
Something's wrong here. Huh. My screen is going crazy.
Okay, well, we're wrapping up, Joel. So I think we've gotten most of the information. So as long as you can hear us, you should be good.
Okay, well, hopefully this issue didn't continues on Thursday.
Thank you, Joel. Does anybody else have?
All right. We just check one more time in the chat and just to see if anyone's raising their hand. I did just want to encourage everyone to sign up for the alerts. As Carla mentioned, the teams will be out there in the field giving out information too. But we have a lot of construction that's happening across the alignment, in particular in this area. We want to make sure that you're informed about the impacts and all of that so that you can plan out your travel going forward and try to minimize the disruption that we know that we're causing. But we also know that we're delivering a project and a light rail system that will be impactful and great for the community too. So we're looking forward to that piece. Over to you, Carla, to close this out.
Thanks, Ray. And again, thank you everybody for your time. We truly do understand the frustration and impacts that we cause. So we try to be transparent. If you reach out to us, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. We appreciate your patience and, as always, your time. And thank you very much for joining us tonight.